Well, this is the first show. This is the introduction tonight. So the show is Politics and Preppers. We had a different name, but we found out somebody else had that name, so we went with this one. We were going to do Preppers and Politics, but like I said, somebody's already got that, and they're here at Talk Shoot too, so you might want to stop by and visit with him sometime. I haven't met him yet or talked to him yet, but hopefully he won't be too upset that we're doing a show very similar to his, because he had the same idea. We're going to talk about politics, and we're going to talk about preppers and prepping. You know, survival stuff, being prepared for different kinds of emergencies. There's, all kinds of different emergencies. You may want to be prepared for, maybe you live in an area that's prone to flooding and you're afraid you're not going to be able to get out to the grocery store or something. And if you can, if you're got a family and you can't get to the grocery store, or the groceries can't get to the grocery store, you're in a bad situation there, so you might want to get a few things together. And then there's types of people that are worried about something even worse. But as the show progresses in different episodes, we'll go further and further into that. But I think the main topic here is going to be politics, because we've got to get rid of Obama and his type people, the liberals, the socialists, the communists, whatever you want to describe it as. I think he fits in this, all the above. Pelosi, Reid, all those, they got to go. And it's not just a bunch of Democrats that got to go. It's some Republicans, and I won't say conservatives, but there's some conservatives that I'm not real sure they're conservatives either. So anyway, so this is Chapter 1. I'm calling Chapter 1 the No Obama Zone. And it's not like it's a new idea. You've probably heard of other places that have used, the word zone in it, but fairly popular show too. But that's what we're going to call the first chapter here, and then if we get rid of Obama after he's gone, we'll go to something else, because there's always going to be politics that doesn't work right with our Constitution, and I'm a firm believer in our Constitution. So before I go any further, I want to introduce Skippy. Skippy is, I've known Skippy for quite a while now. We met on another podcast several years back. We've been working together off and on different projects. So Skippy, how you doing?
Okay, Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's a good start to our first show.
Yeah, and Skippy's going to be pitching in, finding topics to talk about, pitching in his views on political news, whatever it might be, And I think what I would like to do tonight, just to kind of give you an overview of the kind of things we'll be talking about, is, we'll be talking about my personal opinions a lot of times, and sometimes we'll be talking about whatever's going on, and Skippy's personal opinions, my personal opinions, and we'll try to add some facts in there. But this is also just to let y'all know, I don't have time for liberals, so don't call in, okay? All y'all do is attack because you don't have any facts that help your situation. So all you do is you personally attack people. For instance, there's a guy that I have a full-time job, so does Skippy. We're just trying to make it. We're just ordinary guys, taking care of our families. But I'm sure y'all have seen and heard of it many times where somebody calls into some talk show and just starts attacking, calling names, because they got no facts to back them up. And when you prove them wrong, it makes them mad, and they start attacking. Now, I'm going to give you a short story from work. Guy comes in, he works for a while, and we don't really get along, but we don't not get along. We talk, and we have some nice conversations. This goes on for a while, several months. And one day he overhears me talking to one of the other guys, and he finds out I'm a conservative. And not only I'm conservative, I'm very conservative, especially when it comes to my politics, but pretty much throughout all aspects of my life. But anyway, ever since that day, he started trying to get me fired, trying to make me look bad. He'd just outright lie about different things that would happen at work. And, but, I'm going, that's okay. I'll let him dig his hole, and when he gets a nice deep hole, I'll just kind of give him a push and help him into it. And it works. And it does help that the owners of the company know me for a long time, not only since I've started working for them, which is over 10 years now, from before that. And it doesn't hurt that they're conservatives, too. So, they had already figured out what kind of guy this guy was. So, he still works there, but he keeps his mouth shut, and he doesn't pull any stuff on me anymore, because it backfired on him pretty bad.
It sounds like he's picking on the wrong guy.
Well, liberals aren't very smart anyway, but a lot of them think they are, so they're very arrogant. So they figure, you ever heard don't underestimate the enemy? They do it all the time. They do it all the time. They think you're stupid. Because they've been told throughout their lives, as long as you're a liberal, you're the intelligent one, you're the enlightened one, all the rest of them are stupid. So they underestimate you. When they underestimate you, it opens them up. So you just let them dig their hole, and at the right time, you give them a little shove. Sometimes you don't have to shove them. You just kind of, stand back and watch them jump in by themselves and they don't want to know it. But anyway, so that's, my opinion. I don't want any liberals on this show. Now, if I do have some liberal people that I do know, that we can sit there and talk, and it's fine, and we just discuss things. And they don't attack. They don't, get all mad and do stupid things. And if from time to time one of those want to come on the show, they hear about the show, they want to come on and visit, I'll let them on. And I don't, as people started joining the show too, we're not going to just let you on just because you pop in, because I don't want to have to go back through and edit a bunch of shows. It takes too much time. But as we get to know you, we'll let you into the show. But that's not to say we don't want you here. We'd love to have y'all come in and join in the show, and maybe you've got some news that we don't know, maybe you got some views that we haven't seen. There's all kinds of different directions you can go with topics and information that help spread the word, help understand what's going on. So we do want people to come in and participate. I'm going to do a pause here and check with Skippy. I'm going to be doing this to you a lot, Skippy, just so I'm going to check to make sure you're paying attention, and also make sure you got time to join in, because you're the other half of this show. So you got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say basically is that we're not here to convert anybody. We're trying to have a conversation with like-minded people and people that are on the same page, so we can move the country forward. I think that's where I stand. I don't want to spend a lot of energy or time trying to talk someone into a view, or to listen to them trying to talk me into something, at least something drastically different than what I believe. So I think we're on the same page there, and we're trying to enlighten each other as people with like-minded people, and bring points of view that may be a little different, but basically the same, in the same direction, and learn. We want to learn more about what's going on and things we can do to help.
Yeah, and I'd kind of like to, that short story I told, I got some more for down the road, but about what happened at work. I kind of like the people to stop by sometimes and give us a little story about how they've been affected by people like that. And it just shows them, just to kind of show people what kind of people we're dealing with, which I think a lot of everybody already knows. So like when liberals have a protest, it's trashed. There's trash all over the place. Sometimes it even gets worse. People get hurt. Quite often people get hurt. But you didn't see that with the Tea Party. No, you didn't see any of that. The place was...
You don't see it, but you hear the media trying to say it happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they try to make it sound like that. And most of the time, over and over again, I've heard that when the Tea Party people left, it was cleaner than when they got there.
Yeah, if there's a bunch of people in lawn chairs sitting around, with signs, and it's not like they're creating some kind of a big stir. At least not a violent one, anyhow.
Yeah, I know we're kind of jumping around here a little bit, but this is just the intro anyway. So we're not going to, at least right this minute, we're not going to get into any heavy details on anything, maybe a little bit later. If we get into it, we might stop the show and start a second one and get into something. But we need to get some shows out there. But over time, I'm going to give you my stand on things like food stamps, welfare. I've got a story that goes along with that. I don't know if I'm going to tell it tonight, but I will very soon. Immigration, what's going on in the schools, unions, unemployment. There's just
right.
There's all kinds of stuff out there. Boycotting things,
Yeah, I'm a big one for monetary policy, and I guess if you had to label me, I would probably lean more libertarian, conservative libertarian, fiscal conservative. So
yeah, and I pretty much got the gist of that through our discussions. But we don't usually talk politics. We're going to find out a lot about each other, but I think we already kind of figured it out anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure we overlap quite a bit just from discussions we've had. I just to kind of kick off a conversation, maybe. I've been thinking lately. Every time I hear things on the news about all the activities our government's getting into, and especially led by Obama, every time I think about how he won the Nobel Peace Prize, I literally laugh out loud.
Sometimes God.
I mean, what's the world gonna? How's the world gonna look back on his reign? I guess his body of work, and then put that together with the Nobel Peace Prize, and I mean, how did those two mesh up? It just blows my mind.
Yeah, and speaking of that topic, it just really kind of occurred to me that when you compare what the media has done with these two guys, all right, you got Obama and you got Reagan. Now, Reagan was a great man, and he did a lot of great stuff, and not necessarily good at everything he did, but most of it I liked. And then you got Obama over here that the media is trying to build up. They're trying to cut, chop down Reagan and build up Obama. But time's going to show, if we're successful, because if we're not, it's not going to make much difference. We're all going to be in a foxhole someplace protecting ourselves and our families. But you just cannot keep going like we're going and spending money, borrowing money from China and other countries to pay for people who are too lazy to get up off their ass and go to work. Just like 99 weeks now for unemployment?
Oh yeah, yeah. The whole unemployment charade that they play with the percentages is crazy. Once someone's out of work for, I'm not sure what the period of time is, a year or 18 months or something, they take them out of the statistics. So they may take 1 million people out that don't have jobs, and because they're not looking for work anymore. So they just assume it's because they don't want to work. So now all of a sudden, instead of 10% or 12%, you're 8%. Yeah, that's crazy. And certain people, they keep changing it to benefit whoever's in office. And some of the Republicans, I'm sure, are guilty of those kind of tactics too. So, but it's amazing that the media and everyone, not folks like us, but I mean, that people let them get away with it, or that people are fooled by it.
I know you don't listen to Rush, but he was talking about the same topic a week or two ago.
I do listen to Rush sometimes, just because he's the only one on the radio sometimes.
Yeah. And while we're doing this, we might be wanting to take some notes. For instance, this one here was listening to Rush a couple weeks back, and he was talking about that. And I think he said something about shortly after Obama got into office, he had that change to where, because he knew it was going to be bad. Well, he planned on it being bad. He wants it to be worse, so he had to do something to try to change the figures so over time, it would look better. And I think all along he knew he was going to have a rough time getting elected again, even though he said if he didn't get it done, he's a one-term president. But I think some people took that like maybe he wouldn't run if he didn't get it done. But no, he meant he probably wouldn't get reelected if he didn't get it done.
I truly believe that Obama plans to be in office for more than 8 years. I think his ultimate goal is to somehow keep power beyond 8 years.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of been trying to figure this one out, and there's all kinds of theories out there of what he might do. And I think that's why a lot of people are getting prepared, because they're worried about what he might do to force something to happen this election. Because, say there's a big upheaval, and, his organizations and the people support him have organizations that are already talking about and admitting to trying to start trouble. And, if the country went into major problems, like that video you sent me the link to a while ago on InfoWars.
Yeah, the ammo.
They're planning for something bad to happen. Now, I suspect personally that they're going to try to force something to happen if it looks like they're going to lose. But they may be...
They're definitely planning. They're definitely trying to collapse our economy, I believe, because everything they do, even on a lot of the Republican side, everything they do is pushing us towards that.
Yeah, and that's part of why I said there's some Republicans that got to go too. And I might even try to make a distinction over time, and maybe I'll just start here. Is some of the earlier I mentioned that I talked to some liberals that we get along fine, and they're really more like old school Democrats. And there used to be a day when Democrats and Republicans, just us regular folks out working and trying to take care of our families and make a living, we really didn't have that much of a difference in the way we thought. But once you got higher and higher into politics, that's where the differences were. But anyway, back to what I was trying to say was, you sit down and you talk to some old school Democrat. So maybe I ought to try to, for future reference, is maybe make a distinction between liberals and Democrats, and old school Democrats, because old school Democrats, are probably going to be the ones that won't vote for Obama again. And then you don't really have any Democrats anymore. They're all liberals.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, a liberal is just somebody that's either too stupid to make up his own mind and pay attention and go out and gather some facts. They just, CBS, NBC, CNBC, whatever they say goes. They must be geniuses because they're on TV. Well, that's BS, and they've proven it time and time again. And then you got the type that's just too lazy to get up off their butts and do anything, either because they're just too lazy or they've been told they're too lazy and too stupid, and all the white guys have, made them that way, when it's actually the other way around. It's their own leaders that have made them that way, telling them, you can't get anywhere because everything's against you, so just sit at home and we'll take care of you. You just make sure you vote for us, and we'll pay for your school, we'll pay for your home and your food. I got a guy living right down the street. Got a house just as nice as mine, and mine's nothing fancy. And after they move in, they're always at home. What's going on here? And then one day, he comes down, we kind of start talking, and he's not even ashamed of the fact that they're on welfare, their housing is getting subsidized, if not completely paid for, because I didn't go too far into it. He's got better stuff in his house, like big screen TVs, several of them. He got an old Mustang out there that's pretty nice shape that he works on all the time. And then they've got each individual cars that they've got. And then a couple months later, he's got a Jeep over there. And I'm going, and he's not even, he thinks it's great that he doesn't, him and his family, he's got young kids, they get, they are living off my money. Of course, he says government, but it's not the government's money. It's my money and your money and everybody else's money of the half of the people in the country that pay taxes. But there's another subject in itself. That's ridiculous. Make the rich people that produce jobs and make jobs pay more than their fair share, which they're already paying more than their fair share. Go after the people that need to pay, that should pay, that aren't paying.
Yeah, obviously we have an entitlement system that too many people rely on, and I'm kind of under the to me that is a major problem, but that's probably down there on the list of urgent things to deal with. The most urgent, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it is, but if we could get these people off of food stamps and welfare, at least a bunch of them, there's a lot of money to be saved there. And it really irks me when I walk into the grocery store and I can't buy steaks, and this guy comes up or the lady comes up and buys steaks and stuff and pulls out and here it's the Lone Star card, all right, but it's food stamps. And then they pull out a wad of cash and pay for beer and cigarettes. As far as I'm concerned, if you're on welfare, on food stamps, you shouldn't be smoking and you shouldn't be drinking.
The sad thing about it, they're so heavily taxed, so you're paying for, they're giving them the money and then they're paying tax with it.
Yeah, but they're going out and making money on the side. They're going out and making money on the side too, because you can't buy cigarettes and beer on food stamps.
Right,
but you can't buy it with food stamps. But you can pull cash out at the same time and do it. As far as I'm concerned, they ought to have a separate line for people with food stamps. But so they can say you can't buy steaks and all this kind of stuff. You can get the basics and have a list of stuff they can get. Kind of like the old way from years ago when that first started. There was a store, and they called it the welfare store, if I remember it correctly. But forgive me if that's not the right name. Yeah, and it was a store where you went in. It was just for that purpose, and you got basics. You got dried beans, flour, whatever, milk, eggs, the basics to take care of your family so nobody starves. But it wasn't enough.
It's called Dollar Tree, right?
But it just kind of, it irks me. And there's a bunch of money being wasted there.
Yeah.
And error,
I mean, it obviously serves some people well, but there's certainly a lot of people that game it and live and abuse the system. And I'm
well,
not
even if you really should and really deserve to be on food stamps, does that mean you should be able to buy steaks that I can't buy?
Oh no.
And I'm not broke. I get paid pretty well, but you don't see me out buying steaks very often. But then I can take my guns out. That'll piss the liberals off. I can take my gun out and I can go out during deer season and shoot me a deer, or I can go out and shoot a hog just about any time.
Well, the other big problem with all these welfare programs, including Social Security, probably being the worst, is the value of the dollar is going down so much with inflation that it doesn't keep up. I know. I'm sure we're not increasing what those systems pay out to people to compensate for the inflation, the real inflation, not the crap number of inflation. They go by gas or food. They don't even include gas or food. I mean, what else do you buy in life anymore but gas and food? So
well, you mentioned a minute. Go ahead.
No, I don't understand how the government could just say inflation is low or steady, and then they take a couple of the biggest things and things that are going up in price the most out of the equation. I mean, it's like blatantly fraudulent, even.
Yeah,
fraudulent.
There was a story about that.
The right word.
There was there was a story about that not too long ago, and I'm at work and I've got my radio on. The job I do, I can do that. I work out by myself most of the time, so I turn my radio on and I listen to the different shows, and they were talking about the inflation rate is this, but listen to this. They took out this and this and this, and just like you were talking about. Well, that's pretty much all of it, isn't it? Except for the part you want that looks good.
Yeah, like the price of tennis balls hasn't gone up or something. Who cares about that?
Yeah, I
need like underwear and clothes and stuff.
Yeah. Like what was it? They wanted trying to make the Catholic organizations pay for abortion and birth control.
Right.
And Pelosi, God, Pelosi just drives me nuts. You have to wait for us to pass it, for us to find out what's in it. Yeah, kiss my grits. Anyway, they were talking about the topic of abortion and birth control, and they went out, supposedly did a survey, and they said whatever the numbers. Forgive me again, people. I don't have the numbers because I wasn't expecting to bring this one up, but I'm going to say they said like 90-something% of the Catholic women use birth control and approve of it. And then they go back through and you start reading what they're more of details about it, and they go, well, they took out the younger girls, they took out the older women and several others, and pretty much just left the people that had kids, women that had kids, and didn't have kids, and said that 90-something%. Well, of course, if you take out all the factors of all the women that might disagree with you, what are you going to get?
Yeah, man. All these things. I guess the government is no different than a lot of organizations, whether they be marketing organizations. They play games with numbers to make you believe whatever they want you to believe.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing with food. As with food studies and these kind of studies that they do about what foods are good for you that they brainwashed people into over the years. And if you go back and read the studies, they just manipulate the numbers. And you can make it about any case for a lot of different correlations between foods and diseases and things. So government's the same way.
I want to pass a law that says everybody has to drink beer. So I'm going to go into a beer bar and I'm going to do my survey with everybody that's drinking beer, but I'm not going to survey anybody that's not in that bar. Well, what do you think's going to happen? I'm going to get whatever outcome I pretty much want.
Right, what they'll do, yeah, I won't get into that whole thing, but you get me started on nutrition. I've been big into nutrition lately, so it gets me on a rant.
Yeah, and I need to maybe follow up some more on that because I need to do something because too many little things are going wrong, like my gout's acting up, and I don't even have gout.
but my general thinking is the government certainly isn't any smarter than anybody else in nutrition, so they should just stay the heck out of our lives with telling us what to eat.
Well, they're not any smarter than anybody else on anything, pretty much, from what they've been proven.
It's worse than that. They're in bed with corporations and pharmaceutical companies and, all the people who don't want you to be healthy.
Whatever puts power and money into politics in their pockets, especially the liberals, that's what's going to happen, and that's not leaving out the Republicans either. But there's too many of them too. But tell you what, we're getting on 30 minutes into the show. How about you? Let's go ahead and try to get 2 of them done tonight, and I'll end this one, and then we'll come back and do another one right after. Sound okay to you?
That sounds fine.
All right. If you got time now. You want to get deep into a topic for the next show? Maybe one of the ones we just talked about, or
we can talk a little bit about that ammo deal.
Yeah, we can talk about that, and maybe you touched on the topic a while ago when I was talking about food stamps and welfare and things like that. Maybe, and you had suggested that those aren't the more important ones. Why don't you pick out one of those that are more important? That'll be it.
Okay.
That work for you? All right.
Yeah. Hey, we also have someone asking a question in the chat there.
Oh, I
Yes, we have
didn't
a
see that. I'm
visitor.
glad you're watching that. Visitor, guest 3.
Hey, welcome to the show, guest 3.
Yeah.
Sorry we missed you there.
We were sitting there talking so much we stopped looking at the screen. And
I'm not real sure what they're asking. Something about organic food.
Oh, let me move this a little bit closer so I can read it. I got that screen way too far over there.
Hey,
water organic food. Try for 1 month and say there's no difference. Well, I'm not real sure what that's supposed to mean.
Hey, if you want to clarify a little bit, we can talk a little bit about
that for a minute if you want to clarify.
We like to get people involved in the show, just starting out.
Yeah, that's nice. Hopefully, I didn't go put it on Facebook or Twitter or anything else yet.
Yeah, they were talking about the gout issue.
The gout issue, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I quit drinking pretty much when my gout first started acting up, and we won't go into this too far, folks. But when the doctor says I don't really have gout, but my levels are high enough that I need to be careful, and so I was drinking more than I really needed to drink, but not like going out getting drunk every night, but.
Yeah.
I figured that was one thing that was pretty bad, and I'd already been thinking about, ways to cut back on money. I said, I'm going to quit drinking beer. At least I'm not going to drink, but maybe a couple a week. And actually, I don't have a beer more than a couple of months, maybe, and sometimes maybe not for several months. But yeah, that's one of the things right there. And I need to go back and study up on it a little bit because I don't want to go on drugs I hate drugs that you have to take. Here. Take this for the rest of your life. I don't like that. I don't think it's healthy, but then I'm not a doctor either. But so there's some things I got to study up on.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Maybe we could start a podcast on that someday.
Yeah, well, we might. Let's get this one underneath our belt and get going. And if we really enjoy it enough, we'll just keep going on other topics too. But okay, what? Wow. The gout issue. 64 ounces of water a day. Yeah. A friend of mine had mentioned something about that. That might be a good idea because, especially where I work, I'm out in the heat and it's, I'm out all day. So, maybe I ought to drink more water and less Cokes, maybe.
I bet you if you cut all wheat out of your diet, your gout would go away. It's probably the hops and the beer and everything could have been doing that.
And that's one of my problems. I like my meat and taters, man.
Not meat. I'm talking wheat bread. Wheat is very inflammatory.
Yeah, well, I love bread, and pasta, and God, that's always tell you. Eat anything that tastes good, and you'll be okay. All right, Geeks 3. If you want to hang around, I'm just gonna end this show, but it's not going to kick you off or anything. I'm just going to well, no, it probably will kick you off.
So look
if you want to come back,
you're welcome to come back.
Yeah, I'm going to end the show and we're going to restart it and do another episode. So welcome to come back. Anyway, the name of the show is Politics and Preppers. We don't have a website yet. We might put one up later. And we might start Facebook and a Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But we're just going to jump into the show, and we've been talking about it for a while. So anyway, the name of the show is Politics and Preppers, and you can find it at TalkShoe.com. And the show call ID number is 120315. That's 120315 at TalkShoe.com. And hopefully we'll get the word out, and we got to do something, folks, because this country is in some trouble. Yeah.
You said two different numbers there. Which one is it? Just for people to, in case they look it up.
All right. The call ID
the show number.
All right. Well, it's episode 2, but the call ID number is
there it is.
120315. It's way up at the top of the screen.
Yeah,
now.
I see it there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and
Okay.
well, I think we already got our intro done, so we'll be back in next time.
Yep. See you later.
See you later, Skeepy. Talk to you in a few minutes.
You bet.